Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4 on the Kaiserreich mods, the alternative history mod where Germans won the First World War, and they are the major player in the world. Kaiser Wilhelm II was victorious in around about 1919. I didn't mean to go to multiplayer there. Let's just start a new game. So basically, again, we're starting in January 1936, but a completely different world awaits us. Legacy of the Weltkrieg, basically the World War. Select a scenario, and we are going to be the German Empire. Basically, our goal is to keep the empire together and survive without being taken out by the likes of France or Russia or anything like that. Russia is now basically communist along with the Union of Britain. The British royal family ran away to Canada. They're basically in exile over there, and they would like to get Britain back, and then such forth and so forth. The US are in a predicament as well, where they will probably end up in a civil war at some point soon, and Spain has its civil war as normal, but instead of 2 factions, it's 3 factions. So there's quite a lot of changes. Most of you who are watching this will be familiar with Kaiserreich, but for myself, I am not an expert player in general, but I get by. Some of you may have seen the previous series I did on the Road to 56 as Communist Britain. We're going to get a game started here. German Empire, let's go. If you want to pause and read anything, because there are a lot of pop-ups and there's a lot of lore behind this as well, which is fantastic. Nice that they put so much effort into this. Basically, if you want to read anything, just give the video a little bit of a pause, have a read through, and then continue, because if I read everything, it's going to take a hell of a long time. And these are only 20-minute videos after all, so I need to get on move on. So thank you Kaiserreich team for this glorious mod, and you do have a choice of wanting to know everything, like every little pop-up that comes up, but we're just going to be informed about major events in this one. So just bear with me a second while I organise the army. I'm just going to speed this up a bit, and then we'll get on to the actual gameplay in a minute, so just see you in a second. Okay, there we go. So that's a few things organised. We've got our guys into armies. We're just going to basically use generals at the moment rather than field marshals. And we've organised our navy. We're going to consolidate that and our air force as well. We've also made our little army in the colonies. But to be honest, a lot of this land is quite useless. Maybe apart from the Suez, but basically you're going to protect my rubber that's being produced over here, because that is pretty big amount of rubber that is going to be used for trade, and they'll get factories out of that as well, hopefully. So that's kind of key to the economy just at the moment. We're going to get on to doing some research, do all the usual stuff, like equipment, engineering, that's sort of done already, basic machine tools, construction, and I might pick up not the oil plant just yet. Might do a bit of mechanical computing, just to get our research time down. I know it takes like 200 days. Anything under 200 days, in my view, is worth doing, but to help with our research time, I think it's alright. But in factories, first of all, we're going to increase our military production. Just do like 4 factories. And then I'm going to up my oil production as well, because I would like to become self-sufficient, ideally. Not rely on imports, because especially in times of war, when my convoys get attacked and all that, it's not a good place to be in. We've got some free military factories, going to do all the usual stuff like equipment, support equipment, motorized, a bit of artillery as well would be helpful. We're going to get ourselves some light tanks and aircraft. So a fighter, we get a fighter, and we're going to get some air support and bombers. Not strategic ones, I'm going to do tactical bombers. And also some transport planes as well, because I want to do some power drop action, as much as it may waste my manpower, given my previous experience with them. But starting off, we're going to do 3 factories on infantry equipment, and we're going to concentrate on our tanks and our air force at the moment. Even if I have to import some oil for now, it should be fine. I'm going to reduce that a bit because I want to transport planes because they take a long time to build. But we'll get more factories as they come. As they come to us. We've got 3 dockyards, of course. I always do convoys. Maybe we could do a little bit less on the convoys, and we're going to add some submarines. So hopefully they'll help us with convoy raiding and all that jazz. But Navy game isn't strong with me. Even though that Germany is basically the world power at the moment, the one on top, Britain's navy is still pretty sizable and strong. As you can see, they're about 185 maximum there as well, as they usually join up with France, so their combined navy could wipe me out pretty easily. Depends how the game goes, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Kaiserreich does throw up a different game each time, usually, especially with who gets elected in Britain, whether they go with France or don't go with France. Who knows? There's a different outcome each time. There's no historical focuses because it's an alternative reality anyway. So, yeah. Black Monday is coming as well. An event that basically drops everyone's economy down to the floor. And all your political power starts dropping into the negative as well. But we'll come to that when it comes. Imperial restructuring is going to be our first port of call. Just because why not? I want to go down that side first. And when Black Monday comes, we'll sort it out in a moment. So we need to import some oil, which is absolutely fine. We'll just import it from the US for now. That should sort out our deficit, but we've got loads of resources otherwise, which is why I want to build the oil refinery so we can become a bit more self-sufficient. We're going to crank up to 5 speed. That's just how we play these things, and I'll just pause it whenever I need to. Constitution of the German Kaiserreich. See, there's a lot to read there, so I won't keep you. We'll just move on. If you want to have a read, just give it a pause. Problem we have at the moment is manpower, because that's the Russian president assassinated. Because basically we have these debuffs, victors of the Weltkrieg, quenched militarism. So basically we're getting the debuffs that like France and the UK would have in the base game. So that's a little bit of a problem. We need to get rid of those as soon as possible, especially with our land doctrine research time being plus 70%, or minus 70% even. So we get a nice little boost there, minus 5% to our consumer goods factories. How are we playing it at the moment? We've got 32% of our total number of factories to produce consumer goods. That leaves a good amount of factories. 30 factories that cannot be used because they're producing toasters. So getting payment for reparations, again, minus 5%. But the problem is, Black Monday has just hit us. So, the 3rd of February, 1936, Berlin Stock Exchange stopped shrinking. It, in fact, plunged. The more market planet, basically, stock market crash there. You can see how badly that affects us. Political power, minus 200. And political power does have a part to play in our stability rating. That's popularity. A stability rating means we can have less consumer goods factories. It's very good. Disaster means it goes up quite horrifically. And it all becomes a bit more difficult. Afghanistan declares war on India. Electoral gridlock in France. That's fine. Run on the banks. So basically a lot of these events on the early game are going to either drain your political power a lot or a hell of a lot. So you need to choose carefully what you do here because it will affect you later on. And what I usually do is try and go for the one that takes the least political power within reason. So this is a minus 100. Gives us extra goods factories for like 8%, which is bad, but it's only for 50 days. So I'm just going to take that hit for now. 5th Anglo-Afghani War. Who cares about Afghanistan? Okay. Black Week comes to an end. And the Halbstarker terrorize the cities. Basically gangs of teenagers. Minus 40 political power. Mein Gott. So basically, what we want to do is organise the youth in a minute. How long did I go without a political focus there? National focus. Never mind. We're going to organise... not organise the youth. Yeah, actually we're going to organise the youth just now. Is that a good thing to do just... Yeah, organise the youth now, and then we'll do the Institute, the Reichspolice. Yes, I know that's not how you say it, but still. So we're going to do that for now. Get these teenagers off the street and into the army. That's where they belong. Ford, basically the communists. We're going to force them to go underground. We don't want them operating. We are authoritarian. I say that really weirdly. Authoritarian Democrats. Basically a king running the country with a prime minister sort of deal going on there. The factions are split into three, where you have like communists, fascists, and Democrats and non-aligned. But there are different types of non-aligned, different types of Democrats, different types of communists, and so forth. Each have their own little quirks. But we're basically non-aligned, but an enhanced form of non-aligned. Financial troubles in the colonies. We're going to tighten our belts. You can see we're on minus 355 political power there. We don't want our stability to go too low. We want our economy to get back on track. Remilitarization of Ortania is somewhere down here. Kenyatta Sulf affair. So it's a Middle African affair, which I'm going to give them to sort out. Basically, Middle Africa, Deutsche Middle Africa is down here, run by Hermann Göring. Life took a very different turn for him. Basically, got two Frances here. French remainder of the former France down here, led by Pétain, famously of the Vichy France, Second World War, and then there's the main France, which is communist. And it's fair to say they lost a lot of land in the First World War, especially this bit which is called modern-day Vietnam, Singapore, and like Indonesia, bits of that sort of thing. That is Indonesia. I think that's somewhere else actually, but never mind. Indonesia is in that area. My geography is usually better than this, but with this mod, it's sort of thrown everything out the window. Agricultural crisis in Middle Europa. We're going to protect our own peasants. Also protect our presence as well. But for now, we're going to look after Germany. Germany first, that sort of thing. And then we'll sort out everyone else's problems later, maybe. So this is the death of the Pope, Pius the 11th. First International Congress, Nicholas's first move. There's a lot of events that come up and everything. Unrest in Rhineland, workers' strike. Excellent. That is just what I was looking for. Clearly. Karl Donitz can run the navy I've got going on here. The reserve Squadron. A mouthful. And while we're thinking about it, production of undersea boots and all that. The submarines, why can't it? It cannot deploy because I don't have the manpower. Don't worry, I'm going to get some teenagers for you. Going to send them under the sea. Downfall instability, yep, there we go. Going to crap. We've now got 38 consumer goods factories. 42% are expected to produce toasters. Okay, there it goes again, a bit further down. 47 now. So this is why it's important to get the economy back up and running as soon as possible. France shows its true face. Well, basically, we know they're communist and they want to attack us. Oswald Mosley is elected. Okay. Totalist form of what's it called? Communism. Interesting. So it's quite a random event of who gets elected. There's a few candidates to choose from. Basically, the trade unions run Britain. Organise the youth. So we now have a good amount of manpower, so that's sorted out. We are going to get some political power. Yeah, which would be nice, actually, to try and help with our stability. And once that's out the way, we're going to do the aftermath of Black Monday, go down as fast as we can to finishing the Black Monday reforms, Then we do the state of economy and go down there and try and get an extra research slot. After that, we'll go down this one. Although saying that, we might try and get down this one before. Oh no, actually, yeah, we'll try and do this first and we'll go down the military expansion route. Because we need to be prepared for war at some point. But saying that, we need to research some paratroopers as well. Try and get those pumped out as soon as we can. Ideally, I want to use them on France or anyone else in the meantime. But we need to produce those transport planes as soon as possible. Ideally, we need about 100 at least. The increasing activity of the suffragist movement. The women want to do things, which is fine. I'm going to promise something but do nothing. I don't really know what the best choice is there. But either way, I wouldn't think they'd be happy with that decision. Right, radio, field hospitals. Right, the paratroopers might as well be researched now. And then we're going to get a bit of dispersed industry, increase our factory output, try and get things produced as quickly as possible. Worker strike has ended, and we gain some political power. Good. Very good. So things are off to a half-decent start. May 1936, the Arab Congress. We just immediately lose that political power we gained. The Arab nationalists are having their own little chin wag down there. So, yeah, cool. Siam has a revolution. Modern day Thailand, basically. Cretan question. Right, we can sell Crete. Sell Crete. I mean, we don't really need it. Really? Who can we offer it to? We can offer it to the Greeks, or we can offer it to the Ottomans. We're going to offer it to the Ottomans. Offer it to the Ottomans? Yeah, why not? There's no real reason to offer it to both sides, really, but I might as well just take the political power. Sale of Crete done. There we go. Political power for everyone. The railway in Africa is nearing bankruptcy, so we can either sell it or keep it running. So political power minus 60 or sell the railway. I've never actually kept it running, so I don't know if it will bring dividends in the future, but we're actually going to sell the railway just to get that event out of the way, because I don't know if that's going to get worse. I might just try and keep it running one day just to see what happens. Just to see, but I'm not being much of a risk taker, if I'm honest. Right, that's that one done. So we're going to... Right, we're done for this side for now. We're going to do the aftermath of Black Monday, try and get stuff sorted in our economy. Hopefully, our stability should increase at some point. Ideally, I want to get back to 0 at least. Sri Lankans have an ethnic conflict. Okay, that loses us more political power. Awesome. It's probably a bit early, but I'm going to go down, get some improved machine tools. 193 days isn't too bad. Just increase the efficiency cap, and the Meklik declared war on Mongolia. They're going after each other right there. That's fine, I guess. Yes, our main concern is Europe, if I'm honest. I need to keep an eye on the Russians. They could impact me somewhere in these buffer states here. Let's see who rocks the boat first. I am not going to try and pronounce that name. I'll only embarrass myself. But he's in charge now. Authoritarian Democrats. So actually they're the same type of government as me, so that's quite nice. Might have an ally over there. Poland elects a new king. Good. Good, good. New national focus, please. And there's a new pope. Awesome. I'm going to bail out the Junker estates. But I'd rather not lose the factories. I mean, I think that's acceptable, even though it does take 105 days for that focus. Our ideology has grown. Good. Gonna sacrifice political power for that. Because the more popularity you have in your government, the more it affects how much you can accrue political power, which is quite handy. Quite handy where it comes to doing that. When you get to very high popularity, you gain 0.5 political power gain per day, which is quite good. Quite good indeed. And the more political power you have, obviously the more stable you are as well. This is very delicious. Construction. Okay, that's fine. What can we research next? We are going to probably do the radio, if I'm honest. I'm not sure what is the most efficient way of getting a decent army up and running with research side of things, but let's see how it goes. I usually tend to go for ones that improve our research time. Ooh, increase in stability because we got to minus 50-ish. Minus 10% to our consumer goods factories. Still pretty bad. 42% is 38 factories. Sooner we get that down, the better. We should be trading soon, I would have thought. No one seems to be wanting our rubber just yet. Not yet, but time will come. They'll probably want oil first. Hopefully, get these refineries off the ground and become self-sufficient. We can cancel our imports. Low stability is now average stability. Good. Good, very good. We can keep this on the up and up. That would be fantastic. So we've got some ministers in place right now. So things, they're okay, but I might change it up when I can. There should be an election at some point soon. Military staff are in place as well. Okay, you've got the Red Baron as Chief of the Air Force. That's good. Can't argue with that. Oh, just excuse me a minute while my phone goes off. Anyway, that's just where I'm going to leave it for now. Thank you for joining me for the first episode. Again, I'm not an expert, but I appreciate any viewership nonetheless. And I'll see you in the next episode, where hopefully something will happen. But for now, we're just trying to build up the nation. Again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.